Remember, we're spanning only WCW era matches here. We're not counting Jim Crockett Promotions. We're doing one match per week in no particular order for 15 straight weeks, leading into the 15-year anniversary of the final Nitro and the death of WCW. This is match number 2 of 15 from Spring Stampede, April 17th, 1994. In Chicago, Illinois, it was the WCW World Tag Team Champions, the Nasty Boys, against Cactus Jack and Maxx Payne in a Chicago street fight. Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan on the call. I'm not entirely sure if this is for the tag team titles or not, since Schiavone made the comment at the beginning of the match that this isn't about the tag team titles. But I think it is a championship match. This is a match that, after all of these years, this was over 20 years ago, and we've seen a lot of crazy matches with guys using garbage can lids and weapons and stuff. I mean, I think to the point where we're all kind of numb to it at this point. I made the comment a few weeks ago when we saw the Team ECW guys and the Dudleys and them. They had that great Extreme Rules match on Raw. It was so different than what we're used to seeing on Raw these days that I enjoyed it. But a lot of those like garbage type matches, I'm like desensitized to it. So this holds up after all these years. But what made this work is you didn't see a match like this back then in WCW or WWF. You just didn't see matches like this. ECW became known for matches like this, but that was after this. You might even say this match is what led to ECW booking hardcore matches like this one. So to give some background here, Cactus and Payne, they'd been teaming up for a few months by this point. They and the Nasty Boys had already had a couple of matches together, one at the Clash of the Champions show in January, again at Super Brawl in February. Cactus and Payne won both of those matches. The last one they won by DQ. There would be no disqualifications in this match here on this Spring Stampede show. This was a Chicago street fight, which meant anything goes, false count anywhere in the building. The point of this countdown is not to give you the play-by-play. I'm not going to give you the blow-by-blow, move-for-move stuff, which is good, because I wouldn't be able to do it here anyway. Okay, it was only a 9-minute match. It was not that long. But it was non-stop action from start to finish. Exactly the kind of match you would want to see these two teams have. Just like the Wyatts and Team ECW. I said the same thing, right? I don't want to see those guys go out there and do lockups and drop toe holds. I want to see a fight. And that's exactly what we got here. This was really the year 94 was that Mick Foley cemented his hardcore status. The month before this, he tore his ear off in a match with Vader in Germany. Okay, the infamous match. He wrestled this match here with his ear, or what used to be his ear, all bandaged up. There's a giant bandage on the side of his head. And the announcers made mention of it at one point that he was planning on having surgery to reattach the ear. So they were trying to protect it. Well, as it turned out, he was booked for another tag team title match at the Slamboree show the month after this. And basically Foley was forced to choose between either having the surgery or wrestling for the tag team titles. Well, guess what he chose? Suffice to say, he never did get that surgery. It was supposed to be, ear reconstruction surgery. Never had it. So here he is anyway in this match, bandage over the ear, taking some sick chair shots to the head. Shots with a pool cue that Brian Knobbs found laying around somewhere. They were brawling all over the place. They had to do a split screen just so we could see what the hell was going on. There was a fake merchandise stand that WCW set up next to the stage. It was hilarious how obviously phony it was because of where it was situated. It was all gated off. Like, who would even be allowed over there to go buy a t-shirt, right? There's no fans over there. And yet there it was. Maxx Payne body slammed Knobbs through the table with all the merch on it and then tried shoving one of the t-shirts down his throat the way that Ted DiBiase used to shove $100 bills down people's throats. Tony Schiavone said, "I don't even think that shirt fits him." So, great insight there from Tony. Cactus Jack was thrown into the steel guardrail, did a flip over it onto the pavement. This would not be the sickest bump he would take onto the pavement in this match. Foley did use a table for a pretty innovative spot. He used it as a weapon, suplexing the table backwards right onto Jerry Saggs, who was laying on the ground. This was on the ramp. WCW was using those ramps at the time that stretched all the way from the stage to the ring. TNA started using them for a while after Hogan and Bischoff came in, so I guess it was a Bischoff idea. Knobbs found a snow shovel somewhere. First the pool cue, now a snow shovel. And as soon as Cactus Jack got up after dropping that table across Sags, Knobbs came running. I don't know, he just, like a bat out of hell. He came from out of nowhere, and he caught Foley with a snow shovel shot to the face. That was just too brutal for words. And again, not the worst snow shovel shot that Foley would take in the face during this match. Somewhere in here, they brought another table up on the ramp, and Sags climbs on top of it. He tries to give Cactus Jack a pile driver. The table collapses under their weight. They all fall down. Then came two of the sickest bumps of, well, not even two of the two sickest bumps of the match, and two of the absolute sickest bumps I've ever seen, which puts this match over the top. I mean, it was already crazy and wild. This just put this match over the top. Sags and Cactus, they both stand up. Okay, they just botched the pile driver through the table, so now they stand up. They're on the ramp. The camera is focused on Knobbs and Maxx Payne. Okay, they're brawling a little further down the ramp. But in the background, we can see Sags and we can see Cactus Jack. They're kind of off in the distance. And you see in the background, Cactus is just standing there, and Sags just gives him a shove. And Foley falls backwards off the ramp, which is probably about, 4 or 5 feet up, maybe. Off the ramp, completely unprotected, no mats down below or anything. There's really just a small gap between the ramp and the metal barricade. And he hits the pavement full force. I screamed, "Oh my God," when I saw that. And it's not like I haven't seen this match before. It's been a while, but I've seen it. And I still screamed when I saw this. And Tony Schiavone just goes, he goes, "Cactus Jack, I don't think is going to get up." It's like, no shit. No shit he's not going to get up. And as if that wasn't brutal enough, Knobbs takes the snow shovel. Okay, he tosses it down below because Sags climbs down off the ramp. So Knobbs tosses him the snow shovel. He picks it up and he smacks Cactus Jack in the face with it about as hard as you could possibly swing a snow shovel. Hard enough that it was uncomfortable to watch. He covers Cactus, gets the pin, and I just don't know what to say about this other than just wow. And then, as Gary Michael Capetta is announcing the Nasty Boys as the winners, Sags comes running down the ramp. We see him in the background. He picks up like the broken table leg, okay? So in the foreground, we see Maxx Payne with his back turned. And in the background, we see Sags picking up this piece of the table, and he comes charging at Maxx Payne. And he mows down Maxx Payne with this table. With this piece of the table, knocks him out. This is the most fun I've had watching a match in a long time. And I feel guilty saying that, seeing the abuse that these guys took, especially Foley. How he's even coherent at this age, let alone writing books and blogs after all the bumps that he's taken, I have no idea, but God bless the guy. I can say this much, though. It was never boring. There was not a dull moment during this match. It was short, but it was memorable. Everybody needs to see this match. The match that the Nasties had with Cactus and Kevin Sullivan at Slamboree the month after this was equally chaotic, but it kind of felt like they were just trying to replicate what they did here. There were some issues between Maxx Payne and Jerry Sags during the match. Sags got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. I don't know if he broke it or separated it or whatever. And apparently Maxx Payne got chewed out for it backstage by Eric Bischoff when he came through the curtain. So, again, this guy's out there. He's having this insanely brutal match, best match on the show, and taking all this abuse. And he walks through the curtain and he gets chewed out by Eric Bischoff for hurting Sags, which is rich to me because you look at the way the Nasty Boys wrestled in this match and most of their matches and how reckless they seemed and how stiff they were. And, one of them gets hurt and the other guy gets chewed out. So anyway, he got chewed out, but apparently he gave it right back to Bischoff, and that was he didn't get fired on the spot or anything like that, but that was kind of the beginning of the end of his push in WCW. He ended up in WWF the year after. He was Man Mountain Rock. He didn't last very long. He had some drug issues. And years ago, the only thing I've heard about him recently is he put out a trailer, which may still be up on YouTube. I don't know. This was many years ago. He was planning to release a movie, almost like a home movie that he shot with all of this footage from, he has his own like personal video camera. and he shot footage on one of the WWF European tours in 1995. So it had footage on there of, like, Yokozuna and Kevin Nash and Rad Radford and Owen Hart and Bob Holly and Sid and Bam Bam and all these people, behind the scenes. And there was one shot of, they were on like a tour bus, I guess in Europe, and Nash and a bunch of the guys, Yokozuna, they're all sitting around, and Nash is like holding up a bunch of pill bottles, and there was supposedly a lot of really salacious stuff on there. I don't think the movie was ever released. It was like a 3-minute trailer with like music in the background and all these clips, and that was it. I never heard anything about it again. The movie never came out. I wish it did. I'd love to take a look at it. That was the last I ever heard of Maxx Payne, and what he's up to now. I have no idea. Foley obviously went on to bigger and better things, but yeah, this is a match that to me stands up after all these years, and may be the craziest match that WCW has ever had.